What is going on, YouTube? ModzvilleUSA here, back with another Bleemsync 1.0 video. And today what we're going to be doing is installing Retroarch from scratch, getting everything set up like thumbnails, all the various cores. We're going to be setting up some playlists. We're going to make sure your BIOS files are in order. And yeah, by the end of this video, you will be playing everything from Super Nintendo, Dreamcast, PSP, PS1 games, NES, so much more. Conveniently and easy on your PS Classic. Now, I know I already had a RetroArch video for the beta release that came out on Christmas. However, enough has changed to warrant a new video. So that video should link to this one now. This is the current RetroArch guide for the PS Classic. Now, also, I want to mention, you're going to want to check out the previous video. Hopefully, I remember to put a card up right there for you guys to click on that. That'll get you all set up. Make sure you follow that. And where that ends, this video begins. We're going to set up our RetroArch. Now, let me show you the new directory we're going to be working with here. Bada boom. Okay. So here is my flash drive for my PS Classic. This is the root of it. So we got Bleemsync, we got this, we got games, got ROMs. You'll have ROMs later. So in Bleemsync, we got this folder here called OPT. In there, we have RetroArch. And this is our RetroArch folder. So let's start by getting cores. We're going to download cores. And cores go in .config, RetroArch again, cores right here, bada boom. So what you're going to want to do, I have all these links open in a web browser, but down below in the description, there will be everything that I am allowed to link you to. So first off, we have the cores, and it is this PlayStation Classic beta, and there is an option to download all the cores at once, which is great. Just go ahead, click the allcores.zip. It will download all the cores. And if you want to install PSP, go to special and get this core psc_ppsspp.zip. We're going to get that as well. All right, so we're still here in the core section, and I got both my zip files here. So here's the all cores zip. What you're going to want to do, select everything in there, drag it over to this cores folder here. And I want to go ahead and replace it. Okay, now that is done. Now let us check out this PSP core. This format is a bit different, so it goes. We are going to be dragging this to the root of where our RetroArch is. So let's go all the way back to the OPT folder, and we are going to drag this RetroArch folder into here and merge the two together. Very nice, very nice. Okay, now that is done. Now we have our cores installed. Next thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and grab all the database files. So there's another link, should be the second link down below, to a GitHub page, libretro databases. So we are going to go to this clone download option, download as zip, and we're just going to go straight up open. Okay, and we are left with this zip folder right here. Within it, we've got a folder called libretro database master. We're going to open that up. We're going to open up RDB, and we are going to grab all of these guys here, and those are going to go. So let's start from the root again. We're in the OPT folder. Open up RetroArch, open up .config, open up RetroArch again, open up database, RDB, and we are going to drag these in here. All right, that is that. Now, next thing you're going to want to do is get BIOS files. I can't tell you exactly where to get these, but a quick Google search should turn it up. I recommend doing a search for RetroArch BIOS pack. And if you also want to be able to play Dreamcast games, most BIOS packs do not come with the Dreamcast BIOS, so just search up Dreamcast separately, Dreamcast BIOS files, and those go in OPT RetroArch system. So all your BIOS files should go in here. Now I have a backup of my BIOS files right here. So I'm just going to drag these over. Cool. So I got all of mine here. And let me just show you what the Dreamcast setup should be. Is you're going to need to make a folder within this system folder called DC, all caps. And within it, these have been already created, but you should only have the following files once you have set it up. You will have DC_boot, DC flash, and potentially DC flash WB, but it's these two that you really need, DC boot and DC flash. Your BIOS files may be named differently, might be flash.bin and bios.bin. If it's something like that, just rename BIOS to DC_boot and flash to DC_flash, and you are good to go. So that is what my BIOS folder looks like. Also, it's worth mentioning, you don't need the PlayStation one. I'm putting it in here anyway because it wouldn't hurt, but the PlayStation BIOS should be included on the PS Classic. Just natively, it's built in. All right, so that's BIOS files. Now, the next thing you're going to want to think about is ROMs. For anything up to about N64 GBA era, you're going to want to look up no intro ROM set, no dash intro ROM set. You should find something very easily. Now, for things like PS1 games, for PS1, I would look into redump. Go ahead and grab the redump set. And for Dreamcast, I'd recommend getting the TOSEC. So TOSEC set. That is the best set. And if they all come, every game's about 1 gig. It's a full-on rip. But I have a video that I'll leave a link to of how to compress those files. It basically shaves away all the unused data in those files, so you can potentially, like a 1 gig game, so some of those games get whittled down to about 50 megabytes. So it's very, very helpful if you have a big Dreamcast library. So that is that. Get your ROMs, and I just put my ROM. I made a folder here called ROMs at the root of my flash drive, and within there, I put all these puppies right here. These are my various ROM sets. I got a whole bunch. We got Neo Geo, Mega Drive, Game Gear, 32X, Virtual Boy, Super Nintendo, Pokemon Mini, NES, N64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, Super Graphics, TurboGrafx 16, Mame, Atari 2600. Now, last but not least, if you are interested in thumbnails, go ahead, click the link, and you will get this index here of thumbnails for all the various consoles, and these are pretty much for the no intro sets, except for later, like PS1 and PS2, PS3, all of that. So just go ahead, download the sets you want. Just be warned, these do add up in size quite a bit and may potentially cause the console to lag a little bit when you are sorting through it or whatever. So grab what you want. I am going to just do one for now, just to show you. And I believe, let's just add, I have to find it. All right. We've got a couple zips here. So we'll add the N64. Screw it. We'll add them all. So here in Sony, we're going back to Bleemsync, OPT, Retroarch, .config, Retroarch, thumbnails, and we are going to, oh, what the hell? For some reason, I have my BIOS files in here. We're going to undo that. Well, that was a hell of a thing. All right, anyway, so thumbnails folder, yours should be empty if you haven't added anything yet. And yeah, I want to drag in this N64 set. You just drag the folder straight over, and you're good to go. Alright guys, so I ended up just adding a bunch of thumbnails. So I got my Game Boy Color, N64, NES, Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx, Game Boy Advance. So that is it. Now all there is left to do is plug our flash drive back into our PS Classic, boot it up, and I'll show you what's going on. But just real quick, let's do a recap here. Feel free to skip a bit ahead if you're confident. We're going back to the opt, then retroarch, and within here we should have system. System should have all of your BIOS files. From there, let's go into .config, retroarch, database, RDB. This has all of our database files. Good. Next, we should go to thumbnails. Thumbnails has all of our thumbnails files. And cores. Cores has all of our cores. Now we should be good to go. All there is left to do is fire it up. So I'll see you on the PS Classic. Alright guys, so here we are on the main boot menu here. We're going to boot into RetroArch. Ta-da, here we are. Now, let's see. We go to Information, Database Manager. All those database files are here and accessible. Now, what we're going to want to do first is make a whole bunch of playlists from the ROM files that you downloaded. Now, if you followed along, did it like me, should have made a folder called ROMs on the root of your flash drive. And within that is various folders for the different consoles of ROM sets that you have. So, you see here, go scan directory, We go down to media, which is our flash drive. And here's the root of our flash drive. And I've got this ROMs folder. And within this folder, I have a bunch of other folders that have ROM sets for various consoles. So what we are going to want to do is click scan this directory within the ROMs one, and that will scan all of these other folders with all the various ROM sets within, and it's going to make a whole bunch of playlists for us so we can conveniently access any of our games at any given time from the RetroArch menu. So I'm going to hit scan this directory, and this is going to be, depending on how much you have, how many ROM sets you have, this is going to be a very lengthy process. So the amount of these right here, this is probably a overnighter. So I'm going to hit scan and see you in the morning. Alright, good morning, gang. So it scanned all of my content, and now I have a bunch of playlists. Now, as you can see here, Super Nintendo, and I've got the thumbnails there on the right hand side. Now, it seems to be choking up a bit. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that I'm not using a powered USB hub, but whenever it's choking up, I could see my flash drive light blinking like crazy, so it's trying to catch up reading all the content. It seems to be caught up now, and it's running quite smooth, so that's very nice. We got all these little icons here. I didn't add thumbnails for everything, but I added them for quite a bit of things. So we got the NES here. Boom, boom, boom. Now from here, you can just press X to boot up any game. Let's go over some controller options though. Here in RetroArch, it will let you use other controllers. So I'm using a DualShock 4 with the 8-bit DOE at the moment, but you could just plug this in via USB and it'll work just fine. However, there's a caveat to that. You will need to go into input. It will work, but the analog sticks won't. So when you boot into RetroArch, go into input, go down to input user 1 binds. See how it says RetroPad right there? You're going to go to the right, RetroPad with analog. Now, our analog sticks will work. Now, as you can see, I'm scrolling around with my analog stick, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Now let's check out a few more things. Here's the on-screen display, on-screen notifications. If you would like to see how great your games are performing, you can go ahead and toggle this display frame rate on here. And then, yeah, you got a nice little FPS counter at the bottom. Fortunately, with this theme, it kind of blends in quite a bit. Now, it doesn't seem to want to, it hasn't been saving the configuration, although save configuration on exit is enabled. But maybe I've just been turning it off improper. I don't really know. For playlists here, we've got all of our playlists that we added when we did the scan. What you could do is you can scroll through. So let's go to Game Boy. Let's scroll around and look for a Game Boy core like this one, Nintendo Game Boy Color TGB. That is what those playlists will use. That is the core it will look to, so you don't have to pick one each time. However, I prefer to just leave that blank and pick the core each time, because some games might work better with different cores. So that one's completely up to you. Let us check out user interface. We're going to change the theme here. Appearance. Alright. So we got the menu color theme. Morning blue, light, dark, volcanic red, undersea apple green. That's the classic blue right there. I kind of like the dark. Simple snow is very laggy. We can get this simplified ribbon. Might make it a little smoother here. Seems to do that. Yes. And careful with this menu icon theme. I had it freeze by scrolling too far, but let's try one to the left. Okay, on second thought, do not change the menu icon theme. It doesn't appear like any other theme is available, and once you go off custom, it seems very difficult to get back to it. So for now, just deal with these custom icons. They're not that bad. So for thumbnails, as you can see, it's on box arts. If we wanted to, we can go box arts here, and then there's the left thumbnails. Turn that on and have that be screenshots. Now check this out. If we go back to this set here, as you can see on the right we've got thumbnails, and on the left we got some screenshots of the games, which is pretty neat. Pretty neat here. So there you go, that's how you customize it. And let's just boot a game for good measure. Boom, boom, got our N64 on. We'll go to the classic, go to a hit. Go to Diddy Kong Racing. Now it's hanging up. It is lagging a bit, and I can see my flash drive chugging away. Here we are. Diddy Kong Racing, US of A. I'm going to go to run. There she is, buttery smooth. So that's a buttery smooth Diddy Kong right there. Now if you want to get back to the main menu, you just hit start and select, or option and share, depending on which controller you are using. You can go ahead and go close content. And there we are. Back to the main menu. All right. Now let me. That should cover you guys. Get you up and running in Retroarch with your playlist, with your thumbnails, all your ROMs. Get your BIOS files, etc. Leave a like if you found this video helpful. Consider following my other social medias. It's all in the outro. And let me know. Leave a comment if you got any questions. Anything you want to see me cover. I don't know. Hit me up down below in the comments. Smell you later.